A very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Jabela. Tonight on the platform we are joined by Dr. Ellison Tjirera, who is a sociologist by profession. He's an academic, but also one of the few voices that believe that polygamy could actually work in Namibia amidst all these calls that have been taking place in recent years in that regard. Thank you very much, Doctor, for making time. It's a pleasure, but the subject is a contentious one. What makes you think that polygamy could actually work here, or that, I mean, we had it in many communities in Namibia, and then it, sort of everybody became a Christian, and we were told that it's a bad idea, right. But you don't believe that it's a bad idea?
Well, to me, the fact of the matter is that a good number of communities in Namibia still observe polygamy. So it's not as if I'm saying polygamy will work or will not work. It is recognizing that it is there. So, and I think for a very long time, what has happened is that we seem to be in denial, and every now and then you would have impromptu conversations with people, and then you ask, particularly female acquaintances, so what are your views on polygamy? And then you would hear things such as, my husband can do whatever it is that he wants to do, as long as I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and to me, therein lies the problem. So it's not as if people are necessarily against polygamy. It's that there is an element of social acceptability that seem to somewhat lack, and that has been occasioned by colonialism to a great extent. So, but if you even read about polygamy in Namibia, it is recognized at the level of customary law, but not under civil law. So to me, the practice is there.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, so it's not a matter of whether or not it will work.
Yeah. But when you say it is already there, is it working? Because that would be the question. Because it's the practicalities thereof.
Yeah.
Where people say, but if somebody says, I'm a married guy, but I have a side chick, it doesn't qualify technically as polygamy yet, because polygamy would entail formalizing everything. To the two women, or even more, knowing each other.
Right.
The workability thereof.
So, and perhaps once we get to a point where we recognize that polygamy is there, it exists, and we have to, get on with it, perhaps these things of, side chicks would be things of the past.
Yeah.
Because you realize that a person is married to another person, but there is this side chick who is well known.
Yeah.
But again, I think we have to be very careful. These concepts are also a bit dangerous, and they are seen as sexist. So perhaps I'm using side chick loosely.
Yeah.
So that is that. But if we look at polygamy as a concept, in fact, polygamy is a broad concept that speaks to a partner having two or several spouses.
Yeah.
So, and then you have what they call polygyny.
Yeah.
And then polyandry.
Yeah.
So polygyny is Toivo with his 3 wives or more.
Yeah.
And polyandry is Alexandra with her 3 or 4 husbands.
Yeah.
So polygamy is just that broad concept. I just wanted us to be clear about that. And there are countries that recognize polygamy.
Yeah.
South Africa is one of them.
Yeah.
Nigeria, Eswatini. So I think not to recognize it is to be in denial, as it were. Yeah, but of course, all the parties that are concerned have to agree to that, and they have to be unison about what is it that they want. So probably it's not going to work for some people.
Yeah.
But perhaps, Toivo, one day you could invite a number of polygamists, people who are really in this kind of structures, and then you talk to them about the practicalities around polygamy. Perhaps they would be better positioned to comment on that.
It's interesting. In fact, I must reveal now to you and to my viewers that because now it's a matter of public record, that Peter Elindi, who is now in this Enekon Namkor case, because I picked up 2 years ago already in 2023 that he was married to 2 wives. Someone alerted me to it and said, look, bring the men to studio. It will be a very interesting story, especially men who are advocating for this. Yeah. We tried. He was, of course, not interested, which is okay. But it is, I mean, he, at that level, I mean, a wealthy man as he is, with 2 wives, because look, where I come from, our fathers were working here in Windhoek. Almost every man, or Walvis Bay or whatever, but almost every man from my village who was working here, while our mothers were based in the village, working the land there. Our fathers had women living with them, cohabitating with them here. But it was not formalized. And our mothers were very, very angry about it. But maybe if it was formalized, everybody knows what the deal is, maybe it would have been a different thing.
Yeah, probably. I mean, to me, in this particular instance, is a situation whereby law lags behind, as it were. You know, like there's a practice, it's out there, but for one reason or the other, we are saying it doesn't happen, or it shouldn't be allowed under the law while it happens. So as a way of drawing parallels insofar as sometimes law lags behind, you would be shocked to learn that Windhoek is not a city, legally speaking.
Explain that.
So if you read the Local Authorities Act of 1992, it has different types of local authorities. You have Municipality Part 1, Municipality Part 2, Town Council, Village Council, Settlement, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a city in the Local Authorities Act. So legally speaking, there is no city in Namibia. In fact, I mean, some time back, I had a conversation with one of the legal scholars, and I put that to him, and he was like, I mean, so, but I think we can say without any fear of contradiction that Windhoek is a city. It qualifies as the capital city of Namibia. But does it mean simply because the law doesn't recognize that, then all of a sudden it is not a city? So I'm trying to use that to demonstrate that sometimes it is the law that lags behind. So polygamy is a reality in Namibia. Various of our communities practice polygamy. It is accepted at the level of customary law. But I think when it comes to civil law, there is perhaps a reason as to why it is not recognized there. Because it will make things a bit messy in terms of, you know, liability, assets, and all this kind of stuff. So I think even Mr. Elindi, who is married to 2 women, one is married under civil law, and the other one is under customary law. So the moment he wants to have another wife under civil law, he would have to divorce the one that he has.
Oh, I see. I see.
So under civil law, you can only have 1 wife.
And this thing about the red line and that people on the other side can, what are the practicalities around this subject?
Well, I must confess that I have not read much about that, but perhaps legal scholars can educate us on that. But, you know, arguably, when you are married, north of the red line automatically is out of community of property. But this side is in community. I mean, this side you can decide, as it were. But to me, I mean, so if you look at marriage sociologically, in critical sociology. Some scholars actually argue that marriage is an institution that allows for collective consumption.
Yeah.
So it allows capitalism to thrive, as it were.
Mm.
So, and you realize that when you broach the subject of, polygamy and stuff, some women would actually put it to you and say, you know what, if he can take care of both of us, I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? There's an economic calculus that is then attached to the institution of marriage.
Mm.
And that's why you would realize that many a times polygamists are usually wealthy men.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you see there's that economic element to it.
Mm.
It's as if to say, if you are unable to take care of both of us, then, yeah.
Mm.
So you see now there's another logic there.
It's a good point, because our grandfathers, whose generation actually thrived on concepts like polygamy, even they were not automatically guaranteed 2 or more wives. As a matter of fact, the more wives you had meant also that your economic status could accommodate all of them.
Absolutely.
If you are a simple man, you either stick to 1 wife or maximum 2.
Yeah.
But I will ask you now after the break, Doc, about, because the women are going to throw the ball back in your court.
Yeah.
And say, what if I want more than 1 man?
Yeah.
We will unpack that when we return from the break. My conversation with Dr. Tjirera continues. Now, Doc, to that question, because the Constitution also talks about gender equality, women saying what a man can have, a woman must also have. Mm. When they say, I also want 2 husbands or 3, what must happen?
It's up to them. But what I can say is that the issue of as long as the partner can take care of the 2,
yeah,
it won't apply in that particular instance, would it? Because there's this thing that men have to, provide.
Yeah.
Now,
but that would be exactly the reason to say, because there are already women today, let's be frank about it, women who are taking on more than 1 man for financial purposes, thinking that if I have 1 guy, Toivo here gives me 500 here, Dr. Ellison gives me 700 there, then I can pay my rent. Yeah. So maybe having 3 husbands will even elevate their economic status.
Probably, but again, maybe next time it would be good to have a woman in the studio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't speak on their behalf.
Yeah.
But what I can say is there's also, that element of what is socially acceptable.
Mm.
I mean, we know in most of our, Namibian cultures, as to what happens when a man has multiple partners. It is sometimes viewed as, it means you can take care of these people. So it comes with some element of social status, particularly in rural settings. But of course things are changing. But I'm not so sure if we can say the same thing about a woman who has 2 husbands and more.
Yeah.
But you see, again, in South Africa, it's legal. You have polyandry, you have polygyny. It's allowed under their laws. So,
but even in South Africa, I have not yet come across, maybe I need to read up more, maybe, but I haven't seen also, even as much as the law allows it, a situation where a woman has taken on more than 1 man. Because the thing is also, and you are right when you say about social perceptions and taboos. If you have a son and a daughter, and your son, you hear through the grapevines that your son has 2 girlfriends, it doesn't bother you as much as if you hear that your daughter has multiple men.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In fact, people would praise their
Son.
Yeah, like, hey,
You're a man.
yeah, that's a man. Yeah, so we can't run away from that social reality. It's there.
Yeah.
So, in as much as you would say, okay, you know, it's gender equality, you can do whatever you want. There's that, you know, code of public opinion that comes to bear on a number of things, and I don't think that it would. Perhaps we are not there yet. We are not yet there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even socially, Doc, you find men socializing and bragging about having this or that woman. But I doubt women in circles like that talk about having multiple. I mean, they would have, but they would only want their friends to know about one.
Yeah.
Because I think there's an element of shame even for themselves.
Absolutely.
To feel that they do that.
Yeah.
How do you think this thing has worked? Because if you go to places like Kunene, it's still a big thing there. A Himba man, proud Himba man with 2 wives. And everybody seems to be happy.
Yeah.
In fact, what elders in the village will tell you is that when our fathers had 2 or 3 wives, they even never made children out of the wedlock because you had what you needed at home. But today, you are confined to one woman, and I don't know if it's the nature of the beast, but somehow you find the men still going out there and making babies, and it causes a lot of distractions at home.
No, absolutely. And every now and then I go to the Great Kunene region, and I mean, there are some friends or acquaintances from there that have you know, multiple women, and there's even this particular friend, you know, whose 2 wives' houses are not far from each other, and you go there, it's absolute peace and serenity. I mean, mutual respect, and you know, so I don't know whether living in denial will help us.
While we are actually living that.
While this thing is there, and you would realize that where polygamy is allowed and where it happens, people seem to get along very well. But again, also coming back to, say, you know, urban settings, there are times where you have career women, you know, who do not have time for, you know, all the drudgery that comes with marriage. You know, they simply don't have the time. They are focused on their careers. They are, say, executives in the corporate world. You realize that their husbands are all over the place.
Yeah.
And it is known. And if something gets to be known by people who are very far from them, such as you and I, it points to something. That, you know, this particular woman is fine with that. So just do it with respect. You know, this is what you hear a number of times. Just do it respectfully. I mean, and then, or you have, in some instances where the wife knows about the side chick, and sorry again to use that word, and it appears that she vetted this other partner. You know, it's there, it's known, and she knows that when my husband is not around, probably she's at, you know,
at her place.
Yeah, at her place. So again, it speaks to that denial. I mean, that being in denial on the one hand, and also being afraid of being socially, you know, judged. You know, because it's still, but it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
I would think that having things being done behind your back and people laughing at you behind your back, because you come across as a very daft person who doesn't know that the husband is misbehaving.
Yeah.
I think it's worse than being judged for merely coexisting with another woman or in a polygamous thing. But Doc, the element of infections, people saying multiple partners and HIV and all these other sexually transmitted diseases. How is a polygamous society going to navigate around those realities?
Well, again, Taiwo, the fact of the matter is that polygamy is here. It happens. Perhaps, in fact, when we get to a point where we say, this is now legal, it's socially accepted, maybe Taiwo and his 2 wives would every now and then go for, tests and stuff. Or they would, there would be some kind of, I don't know if you want to call it accountability or something like that. But to me, that openness can perhaps actually help things, as opposed to knowing very well that these things happen. So, but you don't know, right? It's done behind your back, and then I don't know. I mean, sometimes also
it's even more dangerous.
It is more dangerous, yeah. And in places like say Windhoek or Namibia generally, this is a fairly small country in terms of population and people knowing each other.
Yeah.
So you might even realize that there are people who know that there are particular people who have the disease.
Yeah, yeah.
And before you even venture, into whatever it is that you want, you say, no, but Taiwo, you can't do that. I have it on good authority that this person that you would want to pursue and make a second wife, has A, B, and C. Or if it is in the open, you would say, okay, before you bring this person on board, I would want all of us to go for HIV and AIDS test. So I think, to me, openness would actually help things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. If you go to social media, this subject invokes some very funny remarks. People saying, you Ellison, who even owes Tamba, and you want to marry 2 wives.
Yeah.
Because there are those who would not care about their social status, economic status. It's about sex. It's about having these 2 wives or 3, even when you can not afford them. That is a downside, where you cannot actually properly provide.
Yeah.
There are men who cannot provide for 1 wife now, but once the floodgates are opened to get in more wives, they will still proceed.
Fair point, but if economics is then the organizing principle when it comes to how many partners you can have, then let's just be clear about that.
Yeah.
And say, okay, for you to qualify as a polygamist or to be able to marry 2 wives and more, your annual salary should be X, or you must own this. So, if that's where we are getting it, yeah.
No, you discriminate against those of. You can't say because I simply don't have the means.
Yeah. But
because even for 1 wife, there are men who cannot even afford 1 wife, technically speaking.
Yeah. But you see, economic class is unfortunately something that we can't run away from. Yeah. And you realize that economic class even has now replaced race,
Yeah.
So you would have schools, private schools,
yeah,
where a child, a 4th grader, pays 7,000 per month, even more than what you will pay at university. Yeah. So, but no one would say you are not allowed to bring your child to St. George's, for example. Can you afford? Yes.
Yeah.
You can't? Sorry. So, and then you would get to a point where a particular school is only a school of kids where, whose parents are economic elites, the who's who, or whites.
Yeah.
So you see the economic class playing a role.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, economic class we can't run away from.
Absolutely. Yeah. The last point, briefly, Doc, is then people saying Namibia is 90% or 95% a Christian country, and polygamy, they would argue that it's not a Christian value or principle. How are we going to navigate around that?
Okay, then, I mean, my first question would be, is Namibia a Christian republic?
Secular.
The preamble to the constitution says, Namibia shall be a secular state. And secularism, ipso facto, suggests that there should be a separation between the state and religion. So we can't bring in Christian stuff. In fact, I actually question those statistics. Is it that 90% of people in Namibia are Christian, or is it that Christianity is the only thing that they have known for a very long time? And when they are asked about religion, or when they hear the word religion, what comes to their mind is Christianity. So I don't know. I mean, and I don't know even how that information is captured, even in census data. Perhaps we have got a data collection problem. Does it allow for, other kind of denominations up to, say, Okuruo, or Holy Fire, which, for example, I believe in. So I think Christianity shouldn't have a bearing on a subject like polygamy, because we are not a Christian republic.
Absolutely. Doc, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
That is Dr. Ellison Tjirera. He is a sociologist weighing in on the subject of polygamy. Thank you for watching.